Let's talk about Tata Power, a stock that has been one of the biggest outperformers amongst the entire power space. Anil Sardana, the managing director of Tata Power, joins us now to give us some details on how the sector is shaping up, as well as some key issues that we have seen in the past. Mr. Sardana, good morning and thank you for being with us on the show. First, I would like to talk to you about your FY14 results itself and what the outlook is going ahead as far as coal prices and the company's coal business is concerned too. The margins that you saw in Q4, do you think that is sustainable?
Good morning. As far as the coal prices in international markets are concerned, I guess for next 2 years one can only expect them to stay at what they are today. One doesn't expect prices to rise quite a bit for the simple reason that China at this stage is not increasing its seaborne traffic and seaborne inputs. So I don't think so that there will be a large excursion in the coal prices until 2018. However, that's from our point of view a hedged phenomena, because if the coal prices remain lower, to that extent we have an advantage at Mundra, and also of course the cost of power at Trombay remains competitive. And if of course the coal prices go up, to that extent we have the advantage of higher income in the coal companies. So it's pretty much a hedge phenomena for us.
Do they entirely countervail one another, Mr. Sardana, or is a lower coal price an advantage?
Well, I don't want to say that at what stage which takes over, because it's not just the coal prices which makes a factor in terms of ultimately the margins, but also the exchange rate variation, because if the exchange rate is favorable, then in that case again Mundra takes the advantage. If it's unfavorable, then the coal company income improves. So it's a mix of these two factors which is important.
Okay, can you just update us on the compensatory tariff case that is now with the APTEL? As of now, when has APTEL told you they will get back to you with their decision?
Well, at this stage APTEL has divided the hearings in two parts. The first part of hearing has been on the request of the procurers with regard to the stay. That part of hearing has been completed and APTEL has reserved the order. We only hope that the order is expected within a week or so. And once this part is taken care of, then they have promised that after the vacations, APTEL will go in for quicker hearing and we will have the outcome soon.
So when you implement this compensatory tariff order, how much do you think it could ease the cash flow burden for a company like yours?
Well, the compensatory tariff will fully take care of the variable price of the coal. So all the under recovery that we have today on account of Mundra, that will stop. So that is the major factor. And today's prices, actually the cost to beneficiaries will be about 40 paise or so. There is another element of implementation, if you recall, which is to place the extra power on long-term basis. Extra means we are guaranteeing 80% availability to the present set of procurers. And if we are able to place about 10% extra power on a long-term basis, then the proceeds are to be shared in a ratio of 60-40, which means that the procurer will have further advantage of about 12 to 15 paise depending on what type of placement we are able to make. In terms of implementation, while the rest part can get implemented with effect from back date, it is important to implement this part so that the consumers ultimately don't lose the benefit of these delays. And that's a point that we have been convincing the procurers, that we can always go and place the power, earn that extra bit for the consumers, and later on we can even place the amount in an escrow, and depending on what is the decision, then use that amount. But whichever day that this placement is getting delayed, to that extent this is a advantage which is lost forever.
Absolutely. But are you close to reaching any agreement with the DISCOMs on this matter?
I find Gujarat taking positive strides, but I don't find any other procurer really waking up to this type of an advantage.
And you can do it only if everyone agrees?
Sorry? Gujarat is progressing in terms of evolving a process, and therefore that is very important, because before we place this through case one or through any other bidding mechanism, it is important that there is a process that is agreed between the two sides in terms of how to arrive at the best possible option.
Yeah, so should we understand that you will be reaching a kind of a long-term agreement with the Gujarat Discoms shortly for that extra 10%?
Yes, I see them positively moving because they have clearly realized that whatever advantage is to be sort of captured, it should be captured immediately. Whatever will be the final decision of APTEL, the money can be split accordingly. But what is more important is why lose any days of extra generation.
Okay. Moving on then, by when do you think you can get the cash for that stake sale of the Arutmin mines? And also, when can you see a stake sale in your Bhumi mines as well? I understand that you're getting some valuations on that front too.
No, let me answer your second part first. There is absolutely no move to offload our KPC mines.
Okay.
We very much are 30% shareholders and will have plans to continue to do so. As far as the Arutmin mine sales are concerned, there are some CPs which are taking time in terms of permissions and clearances of different lenders, as also for splitting the infrastructure company between KPC and Arutmin, because it used to be just one company. And once that process is complete, then we will be able to close the transaction.
So what is the total debt on the books of Tata Power, and how much will you bring it down to by the end of, say, FY15?
Well, at this stage, the debt on Tata Power Group is close to about 38,000 crores. And that includes, of course, CGPL debt, which is close to about 14,000 crores. And the balance companies, including Tata Power Delhi Distribution, including Tata Power Solar, and other companies have the debt. Now, if the regulatory assets, which is presently the trend, if they start to come down, we will be able to reduce 7,000 crore of debt by virtue of that. Of course, the Mundra debt is long-term. And once the compensatory tariff issues are behind us and the Arutmin proceeds are available to us, our ratios will be very healthy.
What about the order from the Delhi electricity regulator? We understand they're looking to issue an order outlining the roadmap for recovery of regulatory assets. What is the latest you have heard from them? And as and when, if that order comes, how much relief will it give you for cash flows and for debt?
Lata, the Regulatory Commission in Delhi has already come out with an order which is basis the Supreme Court instructions to them, which actually suggests that now there will be a 10% surcharge which will be used for the purpose of recovery of regulatory asset. By virtue of this, in our case, if the other part of the tariffs, which basically means if the fuel price escalation and the other parts are taken care, this 10% surcharge would help us to recover the regulatory asset in 5 years' time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Sardana, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us and updating us on several issues that confront your company. So that's the word coming in from Tata Power. It looks like a fairly decent amount of relief is on the way, both in terms of regulations as in terms of coal prices and the money that will come from the Arutmin coal mine.